Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Thursday evening to you all. I hope you guys have had a great day as always and having a great week out there so far. Almost to the end of it, almost to the weekend. We're all grateful for that as always. Really quickly, I want to mention this will be my last video probably until Sunday evening. If you guys have been tuning in pretty regularly, I mentioned several days ago, and I kind of mentioned it last night too, and I think this morning that I'm going on a camping trip, leaving out tomorrow morning. I'll be in the mountains all weekend, and then I'll be back probably about midday Sunday. So I'll have you an evening video this coming Sunday. But between now and then, there's not going to be any content. I'm not going to be able to get you guys your morning updates. So just want to throw that out there. You'll probably, if you follow me on Twitter, you follow me on Facebook, you'll certainly hear from me. It's not like I'm going to disappear off the face of the earth for a weekend. And I might drop a video here and there throughout the weekend just showing the fall foliage I'm going to see. But just wanted to remind you guys of that as far as weather content and telling you what's going on, this will be the last video probably until Sunday evening. So in tonight's video, we're going to discuss what I think is a pretty active pattern next week where we don't really have all the details. And by the time we do have a lot of details, it'll be the day that maybe the event happens, which could potentially be Sunday into Monday. But we're going to talk about what we do know, what it looks like for next week, some heavy snow for areas out west and northern plains, and maybe some severe weather for the middle of the country that could eventually become a threat for areas further east on down the road. So we'll talk about that and things like that. So if you guys have not subscribed, certainly hit that subscribe button for me. Like the video if you like it. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook. Great way to follow along, especially this weekend. I still might, tweet a little bit. So, I know I always say that a million times to hit me up on social media, but I'm telling you, when it gets really active, I get very, very active. So, definitely take advantage of that. If you guys got anything that I can pray about, pray over, please put it in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it, and it gives others an opportunity to do so too. So let's get rolling here. So the Storm Prediction Center right here, what we're looking at, this is a 15% risk at day 4. So, think of this as a slight risk at day 4. This is basically what this is in a nutshell. So this would be for Sunday. So basically Sunday morning to Monday morning in general. This is a 15% risk of basically severe weather occurring in a 25 miles in any given location in this very small yellow area that's right smack in the middle of the country. This is really just due to a high amplified pattern. You're basically going to have two air masses clashing against each other, and you're going to have a return moisture flow ahead of a cold front. And then you're going to have a surface low that's going to be deepening, a sub 1,000 millibar surface low over land. We're not talking about tropical systems. And this is going to help to evict moist air, somewhat moist air, enough moist air to potentially create a severe weather event across this portion of the country. Now, right now, it doesn't look like a significant big deal, but normally when we get into CAMs, which are these short-range convective models, a lot of times it can trend worse. But we got to watch this. So let's take a look at the GFS. What's the GFS show? We're going forward here. We're getting into Saturday morning. You can already see this surface low right here. It's popping off rain in the valleys and then snow in the higher elevations. It's going to be the first significant snow event of areas of the Rockies. This surface low moves out ahead and then starts to ride across the northern plains. So you have basically a trailing cold front right into here with cold air on the cold side of it, which would be to the west, northwest, north side of this system. And then you're going to have a pool of moist air at the surface into this area. Now, I'm not talking about dew points in this necessarily deep into the 60s, into the 70s, but enough juice to the atmosphere to aid in some severe weather activity potentially in this part of the country. So this surface low moves through, maybe a low-level jet gets kicked up in this area. Those are the kinematics, that wind energy you need, and certainly could have some severe weather. Potentially, it's looking like more of a damaging wind threat somewhere into here. Maybe a severe line of storms along a cold front, something. We just don't know. Do I think we're going to have a bunch of supercells breaking out, a tornado outbreak or anything? No, I really don't. It's just what I'm thinking. I don't think we're going to have anything like that, but it could be a big-time damaging wind threat. But we just got to watch. But on the cold side of this, we got a lot of snow falling out here. And then we watch as basically this boundary continues to scoot east. Another surface low develops here. And then this could potentially be like an upper level low, if you will. And then there'll be a cold side to this. A lot of cold air aloft and maybe a sneaky snow event for areas of the panhandle of Oklahoma, Texas, surrounding areas. We got to watch. It's just one run of the GFS, but then this moves through. Could this little cutoff low, which can bring very dynamic weather, I might add, bring some severe weather to portions of the Ohio Valley, deep mid-south? It can, but this is something we certainly are not 100% confident. Well, we're not 100% confident on any of it, but we're certainly do not have near as many details about this, and it's mainly because the Euro and the GFS disagree on this second system. There could be some kind of cutoff low system. But this has not a high-end potential or high-end ceiling, but it could be a bigger threat than what that 15% risk is at day 4 for Sunday into Monday. We'll look at the European. What does the European show? Well, it pretty much agrees, for the most part, on this surface low right here. A lot of this is snow right here, but on Tropical Tidbits with the Euro, it shows up as rain. But it's snow. A lot of it's snow on this backside right here in Montana, Wyoming, for example, getting into the Dakotas. Severe weather threat could be ongoing right into this region. I know you don't see a lot of green or yellow, but you typically won't see this on these global models. You need to get into these short-range convective models to really get an idea of what the storm mode is going to look like. So this moves through, and then here comes our secondary system that we are definitely unsure about. And they actually mention it in the Storm Prediction Center in the breakdown. If you read it, it just talks about how uncertainty is very high with this. But here it goes. Low pressure right here pops off, and a little bit different. It's more just a surface low, just kind of riding or ejecting southwest to northeast. Not really a cutoff low feature like the GFS. In fact, if we hurry up and sneak and look at this really quick, it looks much different. Now, it looks like a little bit of a somewhat cut off low, but it's not really cut off. You look at the GFS, for example, with this, and this looks like a big old bowling ball right here. Even the GFS doesn't get fully cut off, but it looks like this moves down, almost gets somewhat. Let's look at this real quick. I'm doing all this on the fly, guys, but a lot of thoughts are coming to me as I work through this video. And let's see if we can look at this. And sure enough, I mean, you look at this little cutoff low feature. Does it get negatively tilted? I don't think so, but certainly a neutral tilt to it. So something we need to certainly watch. Now, we talk about this first system that we have a lot more confidence on. This is around midday Sunday for the Midwest, north central U.S. So really what you look for right here is right where this surface low is, somewhere into here. And then it's pulling up a brief period of dew points, maybe reaching as high as the 60s into areas of Iowa, far eastern Nebraska. This brings a little bit of juice to the atmosphere, sometime Sunday evening, ahead of what I think is probably going to be some kind of line of storms along somewhat of a dry line right here. And here goes that surface low going all the way up into Canada. A lot of cold, dry air behind this that will create any moisture on the backside of this low pressure to be snow. Here comes the trailing cold front, moves through, stabilizes the atmosphere, severe weather threats over. And then we look at this low-level jet. This is for around Sunday evening at the same time where you got dew points in the upper 50s, 60s in this region. You got a low-level jet pushing 40, 50 knots potentially in this area. So I think we'll have a lot of kinematics of the wind energy with a strengthening, well, not necessarily a strengthening, but a pretty strong, stout, low pressure surface low to the north here, or northwest. But if you had more thermodynamics, meaning that low-level moisture, high-end temperatures, this could be more of a robust, severe weather threat. But it could trend higher. And when we get into these cams, a lot of times they do. So it's just something we need to watch, guys. And, I won't have another video update on that, because by the time I make another video on it Sunday evening, it'll be a now thing. It'll be going on. But I also want to talk about the cold side. I know I don't talk about my folks in Montana, Wyoming much. I probably really don't even have many listeners from that area. And I don't blame you guys, because, I don't talk about you guys much. But here we go. For y'all, first significant snow of the year. We're getting into Saturday afternoon, getting into overnight Saturday into Sunday morning. Look at all this blue showing up, and not just for, everybody's pretty high up in elevation up here, but you got your plateaus and you got your mountain ranges in Wyoming, Montana, yada, yada, yada. You got high plains in eastern Montana and some plains in Wyoming and even in Colorado. And certainly as you obviously get in the northern plains, I mean, it's called the northern plains, but low pressure right here, all this moisture and cold air on this side, an all-out snowstorm possible for Montana, Wyoming, and the Euro and the GFS pretty much agree with this. It could be a high-end snow event, and I'm not talking about a blizzard or anything like that, but I think there will be winter storm watches issued in different areas outside of what they're issued right now, like a little bit further east deeper into Montana to the east, maybe even the western Dakotas. If I've said the eastern Dakotas, I meant the western Dakotas. Guys, I always get my my directional mixed up sometimes. Now, you go a little further south, guys. What's interesting is first system moves through, and then here comes the second system. A little bit of like an upper level low right here, moisture. And we've talked about this before. We'll talk about it a lot more in the winter. But upper level low features, which is normally a backside sort of deformation band of heavy precipitation as a low pressure pulls off. You got the main area of moisture, and then you got the backside moisture. Sometimes you can get some heavy, wet snow behind this. So we'll watch Monday into Tuesday and Wednesday for areas of the panhandle of Texas, Oklahoma, maybe even areas of Kansas. We'll certainly watch this little system right here. And, this is why, because the GFS wants to drop a foot of snow on Amarillo with this deformation band. But I don't believe this one bit, but it tells you the idea that, hey, some snow could fall. National blend of all models for this system up here that it's almost guaranteed to see some snow. Nothing too crazy outside the higher mountaintops, for example, Yellowstone National Park into this area, and then the higher terrain of Montana, of western Montana. Obviously, you guys are going to get a lot of snow, first big snow of the year. Denver could potentially get their first snow of the year. Not of the year, but meaning of the 2022 cold season. And then, you got some snow showing up even in Nebraska, the western areas of the Dakotas. It's just something we need to watch. I know I keep saying that over and over again, but it could be the first significant snow system of the year. Which is sad we made it all the way to mid to late October, and we're just now saying this. But it's been so warm out west. It just has not been a favorable pattern. But you guys are going to get y'all's, and this should get a nice kickstart to the snow season out here and the ski season for out west. But like I said, you got your winter storm watches up for these obvious areas that are going to get a lot of snow, even all the way down into Utah, up to Idaho, southwest Montana, and I'm sure this will get issued a little bit further east. So that's all I got, guys. Like I said, hit me up on Twitter. I'll be retweeting other people. I'll be in the mountains, low service, hardly no service. So I'll be in the mountains, and probably just be more so retweeting other people's content, breaking down the severe weather event. But certainly just be aware, we're entering the secondary severe weather season, which I've never been a fan of. I love my active weather, but severe weather is certainly my least favorite, especially when we're talking about severe weather around the holiday season of October, November, and December. The last thing we need is another December 2021 Arkansas, Kentucky event. So hopefully we don't get nothing crazy like that this year. That was terrible. But anyways, that's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. And like I said, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Facebook. Great ways to just keep up to date. So everybody needs a break, and I mentioned several days ago that I'm going to be taking many getaways that I've been kind of saving up for throughout the entire year. So thank y'all for the support. God bless all y'all, and I'll talk to y'all again soon. God bless.